Let's talk about Elvis. Let's talk about a great story in the Sun, actually. Definition of a great story, it makes you laugh. I shouldn't probably have laughed at this, but it is kind of funny. It's one of these shows that promised so much but delivered so little. It was called the Elvis Evolution. It was at London's Excel Centre, and some fans paid as much as 300 quid a ticket to go and see this. It was meant to be a little bit like, you know, the ABBA Avatar shows. You've seen this, you know, these incredible holograms that bring the group back to life. Massive hit. Look at it. It's as if they're there. Well, this is what the fans expected to see when they went to the Elvis Evolution. Instead of high-tech holograms and 3D avatars bringing Elvis Presley, the king, back to life, they got an actor dancing in front of a few video clips, and one elderly guy registers his dismay, and he got short shrift. Basically, he shouted in the middle of the show, I'm going to say it, he shouted, "This is bollocks." And the security guard dived on him, forced him to the ground, and then carried him out of here. There they are. There they are. Let's talk to the brilliant reporter who got this astonishing scoop. It is a great story. Emily-Jane Heap from The Sun. Hello, Emily-Jane.
Kevin, thanks for having me on.
That's a great story, so funny. But not funny if you're one of the people who were there. So this old guy shouts bollocks, and these security guards, but loads of them, dive on him, shove him to the ground with just one, and they sort of carry him physically out. Look, there they go. Look at this. Look at this. And this led to a complete disarray, because his feelings were matched by everyone else there. Because, as I say, they didn't get any holograms, they didn't get any avatars, they just got some actor dancing in front of a screen, and they were so angry that they had to stop the show altogether, and now everybody's demanding their money back. Quite a scene. Tell us all about it.
I think the general consensus from fans has been they've all been a bit disappointed with this show. So it was announced in January last year, and it was billed as being this sort of high-tech, immersive AI experience. They sort of said they were going to use, you know, thousands of hours of footage, I think it was, and videos, sort of photos from Elvis's kind of home footage to bring the King of Rock and Roll back to life. Was their words.
A cutting-edge journey through his remarkable life, right?
A dazzling journey it was supposed to be. And they, you know, there was a lot of discourse at the time about holograms, and I think people were very much expecting it to be like, as you mentioned earlier, ABBA Voyage, to see these avatars on stage, you know, an avatar of Elvis, bring him back to life. Unfortunately, so somewhere along the way, and Elvis Evolution have actually admitted that you know, their plans changed early on, and they've insisted that ticket holders were made aware of this, and that it was communicated to them. But from speaking to fans, it doesn't seem that that was the case. You know, people were expecting to see a hologram, and at some point along the way, I'm not sure why that was dropped. And unfortunately, the outcome was, essentially the sort of big finale of this show is just video footage of Elvis with a band and a man standing in front, sort of dancing.
It's so rubbish, isn't it, for so much money? It reminds me, I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, was it 2-3 years ago, there was the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow. Look at this. So this was where you another immersive, amazing experience where you it was almost as if you were in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and this was it. And the punters, as you can see, were furious that they'd been basically conned. So it reminds me of this, one of these amazing events that look at that just don't live up to the billing. What you've spoken to the organisers, obviously. What have they said?
Well, they've said their kind of response was that that they've communicated to the fans that that, you know, along the way, that their plans have changed, that things changed during the development phase, and that obviously this hologram idea was dropped. You know, they've insisted that the overwhelming feedback they've had has been positive. Obviously, that's very different to what I've seen, and from the people I've spoken to, it's kind of at odds with that. But yeah, they were insisting that they did communicate to the fans that this hologram wasn't happening and that people were aware of that when they bought the tickets.
So come to Elvis Evolution. There won't be any holograms. That's a really good come on, isn't it? If you watch and listen to the video, it ends up with this poor old guy getting thrown out, literally picked up and physically thrown out because he's refusing to leave. But he is, I think, voicing the disappointment of everyone there, and you can see the other fans there going, he's right, leave him alone, leave him alone. And then it ends up with some member of the staff addressing the crowd, funny enough with an American accent. I just mentioned that because it was quite interesting, probably not relevant to the story, but with an American accent, telling them the event's off, it's over for tonight, so we've got to cancel it, you can get your money back, you must apply for your money back. So the whole event turned into chaos.
Yeah, so I was told that by the lady that filmed that video that show was cancelled. They were all told to leave at that point, and that was the interval of the show when this happened. So they were only sort of halfway through. And all the subsequent shows that evening were also cancelled because so Elvis Evolution have said essentially that their staff were at risk, and they, that safety is their priority, and for some reason they decided to cancel all that evening's performances.
It sounds a bit odd though. I mean, you got one old guy shouting bollocks. And then he gets carried out. It doesn't represent a safety risk. How many people would have been there, Emily-Jane?
I'm not actually sure. I mean, the lady I spoke to said that evening's show she felt was quite overcrowded, and I mean there had been issues. This show was originally meant to, so it only launched earlier this month, it's brand new, but it was meant to launch, I think it was back in November, about 9 months ago, and there was a delay, again not sure on the reason for that, but a lot of ticket holders had their dates pushed back, and so I think they're obviously trying to catch up, and people felt that too many people had sort of been pushed into a small space. I mean, it's just a very funny story, very funny. But not, as I say, to be serious, it's not funny for the people who spent a lot of money going there, and I hope they get their money back. How long is this show supposed to go on for? I think it's about 110 minutes. It's just under 2 hours, and then there's an after party afterwards. It's sort of a journey through Elvis's life. I think there's a element where it's sort of a train ride, where it's supposed to be multi-sensory. I think that there's at one point they sort of pump cologne into the air that's meant to smell like Elvis. And then you move into, and I think it's sort of grainy footage of kind of his life growing up, told through the voice of one of his friends. So people say that you actually don't even see any sign of Elvis himself until about an hour in.
Listen, I used to work on The Sun, and the definition of a great story anywhere is a story that makes you laugh. But the definition of a great Sun story is a story that makes you absolutely split your sides, and that's what this is, one such story. Brilliant scoop, Emily-Jane. Thank you so much for the time. Good to talk to you. Emily-Jane Heap there with my favourite story of the day.